folks, yet again out in the shed, another busy Sunday, but as I did tell you in some of our previous videos, I tend to get most of my garden stroke vegetable work done on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday and half of Wednesday when my beautiful other half is here with me. Today we have what I used to be very envious looking at other guys with YouTube channels doing before I got my own one properly set up. We have a good old-fashioned unboxing. Now what we have here is another greenhouse. Now the reason we're getting another greenhouse is, I suppose, twofold when you think about it. Number one, the vegetable growing operation has got slightly bigger maybe than what I or Susie or indeed anyone thought it was going to be, but more specifically than that even, we have tomato plants in our current in the existing greenhouse that's outside in the yard, and they are just basically gone too big for it. So the plan at the moment is to put this second greenhouse together and initially at least use it specifically for the tomato plants, and we'll see how I get on. So I'll check back in after a while and let you know how we get on with the unboxing. Luckily, Susie is much more used to and much more useful at putting these type of things together than I am, so hopefully it'll be in one piece by the time you come back to us anyway. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and you're very welcome to another bit of a video on the Boylan Talk Sport YouTube channel in conjunction with www.boylantalksport.com. Just before I begin, I would just like to remind you all again to like, rate and subscribe our channel, because the more subscriptions we get, the more options it opens up for producing better quality of content on the site. So what will I begin with? Well, earlier in the day you would have seen where I was out in the shed and the yard as we constructed, if that's the right word, a second greenhouse, because well, this is probably stating the blindingly obvious, but because the first greenhouse we had quite frankly wasn't big enough for the amount of crops we're after sown, and possibly, I suppose, because, being honest about it, we never thought that that crop growing, to put it like that, would take on the scale it has done over the last few weeks and months. Now, when I say scale, we're not exactly at huge scale at the moment or anything like it, but I would like to think that we have the capacity and indeed the ability to grow the operation another little bit further down the line. But as I say, for now, due to the volume of crops we had put down, one greenhouse simply wasn't enough, because to be honest about it, the tomato plants had grown that much since we sowed them, that they were climbing to such a level that the greenhouse they were in just simply wasn't suitable for them anymore. So what we did was we ordered another greenhouse in England off Amazon, because as I would have said in some of our previous videos, there wasn't a greenhouse or tools or seeds or anything of a garden nature left to be got anywhere locally, or indeed in a lot of parts of Ireland, I would say. So what we did was, I've again, through Susie's help in the last weeks and months, I suppose, to be honest, since the start of the lockdown last March, I've got into, now not when I say, I'm going to say I got into online shopping, but not by way of spending huge sums of money or anything like it. Just I managed to, I can pick me way around most of the online shopping sites at this stage, whether it be Amazon or eBay or Amazon or eBay or Argos or Woodies or any of them like that. So it's only when I was going back through accounts and that expenditure and that you don't realise, in fact, how quickly you would spend quite a few bob building up a little, what I hope someday may end up being a little business. But in one way I don't mind spending a few quid, because as anyone that has been reading my stuff over the last few days and week, or indeed since the start of the lockdown in the middle of March, will know, with no Catlan on the horizon this year, I desperately needed something to act as a distraction and another avenue and an outlet, or whatever you want to call it. So I didn't actually mind spending a few bob to make the vegetable farming, as I like to call it, a workable option. So anyway, to get back to the greenhouse, this particular greenhouse we bought, Susie again seen it online somewhere, and the difference between it and the original greenhouse we got back in late March or early April was that this one appears to be specifically designed for the growing of tomatoes, or indeed any sort of plants that grow up to a fairly tall height, because unlike the first one we bought, there are actually no shelves in it, so the tomato plants basically go in. Obviously they're in pots. Any of you that would know how we operate at this stage will know everything is in pots and boxes and buckets and grow bags and the like. As regards the tomato plants, they literally go in and sit on the bottom of the greenhouse, and they have the whole height thereof to grow up in until the actual tomatoes blossom and are fit for harvesting and by extension consumption, as well as doing the usual spraying of all the crops with water and transplanting, as I say, the tomato plants from the original greenhouse into the newer one. We also had to stake up some of the plants that had grown to such a height in the original greenhouse that that had actually begun to lean over, and we did actually lose a couple, but I suppose, look, when you've sowed the volume of crops that we sowed, you're going to have bits and pieces of losses along the way. It just goes with the territory. I suppose it's the same for the tillage farmer that's sowing 100 acres of tillage. There's going to be bad acres in a field somewhere or other. So look, all in all, we couldn't be happier with the way it's going. It has actually turned out to be much more than I thought it ever could be, and even at that, I think there's even more we could do to maybe a little further down the line actually make it into a proper business opportunity, but that's a long way off yet. But for now, it certainly has not only fulfilled the purpose we intended and hoped it would, but it has surpassed any expectations that we would have had, which, to be honest, weren't much, for the simple reason that it was totally a step into the unknown as to whether it would work at all or not. I suppose what really planted the seed of the idea in the first place was when I started over in the local rehab care in September of October of 2018. One of the first things I got stuck into over there was in fact the garden. So so when the opportunity did present itself vis-a-vis the old calf shed at home being cleaned out and more or less being an idle space, we decided to jump at it, and that leads me on to my next point, whereby I would hope in tomorrow's video. Now it is 9:45 on Sunday night. as I'm recording this presently, so whether this goes up before midnight or at some stage on Monday, I'm not sure, but hopefully in the video which follows this one I will have a little bit more detail on the next bit of expansion of the vegetable operation we hope to carry out. I am actually expecting 2 workmen down to me in the morning to have a look around and see what we have to work with as regards a little bit of expansion, nothing major, or certainly nothing compared to what I have in the pipeline for the long term, but hopefully tomorrow will be another exciting step, and if I can get my dearly beloved out with the camera, I hopefully will have some exciting new developments to look forward to in the video that follows this one. Thank you all for having a look, and I'll speak to you all soon.